When it comes to ebook readers, they've gotten pretty big. In fact, Amazon, well known for at least always having 6 inches in their repertoire, has devices as large as 10.2 now with the Scribe. Small e-readers are getting harder and harder to find. But if you're wondering, these are the top 5 small e-readers to buy in 2025. Onyx boox Palma 2. At first, it doesn't look like this is even an e-reader, it looks like a smartphone, but you would be surprised to know that there is no calling feature from a cellular level, it's just running Wi-Fi. Now, this does have an octa-core processor, 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of onboard storage, and has a 6.13-inch eink HD card at 1200 screen. Not only that, a common trend you'll find with this list, but this has Google Play, which means you can utilize Android 13 and Google Play to download basically anything on the market. It markets itself as a smartphone without being a smartphone. Hisense HiReader Pro. This unit takes styling from the A9, scales back the specs, and makes it more of an e-reading centric device. Featuring a 6.1-inch screen, 4000 mAh battery, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs onboard storage, means that this is pretty much going to house about 1 million books on here. More recently, they have released the unit coming pre-bundled with Google Play, which is very helpful because now you have access to countless applications. Not only that, the device is probably the most beautiful on this list, carved out of a single block of aluminum and tooled to the moon and back. This thing is so expertly crafted, it's a wonder why it's not more popular than it is, but mostly is in line with these type of devices that bridge the gap between smartphone and e-reader. They're a little bit more on the unknown side, but you can't go wrong with one of the biggest electronic brands in the consumer world, Hisense. Bigme P47L. Now this is a company you've probably never heard of because we're the only ones that cover it. Not only that, despite our best efforts, they have so few units that we've only managed to scratch together about 6 videos on the company. But this is the Bigme. And don't get out of your seats just yet, this is not a spec-heavy device. 960 by 540 resolution, 234 ppi, and a 600 MHz processor, single core. Yes, you heard that correctly. However, what this is a completely blank slate. You have to sideload in your own books, and the operating system doesn't really get in the way of that. It's a very lightweight experience, and they leave it up to you to craft your own experience. Furthermore, you get a physical clicky set of buttons at the bottom, which is very rewarding to press. It runs a ton of formats and only comes in at $119, making it one of the cheapest e-readers in the entire world currently available to this day. Bigme HiBreak Pro. In terms of features, this is the granddaddy of them all. It has basically everything. A card at 1200 display, a Dimensity octa-core processor, 300 ppi, anti-flicker, anti-aliasing, anti-shake, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs onboard storage, finally catching up to the A9 by Hisense. This thing is so loaded with specs they even give you Android 14, which is the latest possible version of Android you can get on e-paper enabled devices. There's really no compromise at this point. I would say the only compromise is the grand collective of all the little things. The screen gap between the screen and the front bezel is pretty prominent, the device is small but fairly wide and chunky, it's heavy in the hand, and there's tons of misspellings on the operating system. They also have a lot of turnover in the industry, releasing devices at a rapid pace. This may be the be-all end-all of devices with undoubtedly the greatest amount of features to date, we just don't know for how long. Xiaomi Ink Palm Mini Pro. This unit came out a couple years ago but is still being sold to this very day, and is a viable fit for this category. It features a 1.8 GHz processor, 1 GB of RAM, 64 GB onboard storage, and has a 5.2-inch e-ink Carta display with 284 ppi. The downside? It has a glass screen with a glass layer. Yes, you can put a screen protector over it, but you can put a screen protector over anything. The fact is that they went to market with effectively a mirror, thus defeating the purpose of e-paper. Outside of that, it's a pretty simple unit. You just sideload your books in and you have a micro e-reader in the palm of your hand. This is one of those devices that kind of snuck under the radar, as not a lot of people know that these guys have been making full lines of ebook readers for years. But you can actually see from our channel, they do indeed have a robust library. Now, these may not be all the units. In fact, if you go to DHgate or AliExpress, you'll find no short of 100 ebook readers similar to this on there. But in terms of the ones that have a prominent footprint and place in the industry, this is the latest list of small e-readers you can actually buy today.